My wife starts pretty much every day with brain teasers, things to keep her mind sharp. She plays Wordle every single day. She's got a 100+ day streak with Wordle. It's just a little exercise to kind of keep the brain sharp. I do the New York Times spelling bee, which is kind of funny because I'm dyslexic. So there's that. But what do you do to keep your mind sharp in terms of real estate appraisal theory, definitions, those kind of things? Appraisers have to value homes every day. How well do you trust your skills? Are you willing to put them to the test? Stick with us and hear about something that you can sharpen your valuation instincts and keep your mind sharp in a fun way. Stick around.
Are you ready to take your career in real estate appraisal to the next level? Join the Appraisal Institute, your go-to source for expert insights, industry trends, and the latest updates from the world of valuation. Whether you're an experienced appraiser or just starting out, they bring you industry resources, classes, and all the knowledge you need to stay ahead. Join today and be part of a community that's shaping the future of the appraisal profession. Visit appraisalinstitute.org to learn more and become a member. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast with your host, Hal Humphreys.
Welcome back, everyone, to today's Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm Jim Morrison, and let me bring back in our host, Hal Humphreys. Hey, Hal, how you doing?
I am doing so well, Jim. It's good to see your face.
Well, it's good to see you again. I'm really excited about today's episode. We're bringing in our guest today. That's Doug Weitzbuch, a TV producer who became a game designer. He created a new game called Housle. It's a real estate price guessing game that's casual, entertaining, addictive. Let me bring him in. Hey, Doug.
How's it going? Nice to see you guys.
Good to see you. We're excited to talk about your game today.
Thanks. I'm excited to share it with you and see what you think.
Doug, I'm absolutely tickled you've taken the time to be with us today. You know, most of our guests are real estate appraisers, and you're not. So just for the sake of our listeners, give us a little bit about your background. Who is Doug Weitzbuch?
I am a TV producer out in Los Angeles. I call myself an unscripted TV producer, which means I work in the reality space, game shows, competition shows, food shows, travel shows, you name it. And while I was working in that space, I actually produced a show that was in the real estate world for Netflix. It was called Buy My House. And I personally love real estate. And kind of through that process, I came up with the idea of, there's this famous game called Wordle, which is a daily trivia, word game. And I had the idea to do it for homes. And so I built Housle. And it's a really fun game.
I love it. I love it. So what inspired you to create Housle, and how did your background in television influence this idea?
Great question. So, I was mentioning I did this show for Netflix back in 2021, I believe it was. It was called Buy My House, and it's really like Shark Tank for real estate. So where in Shark Tank, you've got these entrepreneurs who come on, pitch their business ideas. With Buy My House, you've got everyday people like yourself or me who come on to a panel of real estate investors, and we try to sell our home live on the show. So we did about 35 different people or homes, and through the process of casting the show, it was my job to make sure we had great stories. And a great story meant a great home with a great character behind it, a good story of why they were selling, where they were going on to, how long they had held the home for, why they were, et cetera, et cetera. And I worked on that show for about a year. We filmed at Netflix studios in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was a really solid show. The CEO of Redfin was one of our real estate investors. Glenn Kellman. Pam Liebman was one of our investors. She's the CEO of the Corcoran Group. So we had some big hitters. They were wonderful to work with. I loved the whole experience. And I already enjoyed real estate, but I really fell in love with real estate, I would say, through the process. I'm also married to a realtor. So in 1 year, I'm always hearing real estate jargon all the time. And so, that's kind of the inspiration behind it.
Okay. Well, tell us how the game works.
So it's a daily game, which they call casual games. You log onto our website, housle.house, or our app. We're on both the iOS and the Android stores, Housle. And it's a daily game where you try to guess the price, the list price of a home within 5% through a series of 6 pictures and clues. So when you open the game, there's an initial picture. It's almost always the exterior of the home. And the first clue is the state that it's in. I'd say 98% of our homes are in the US. Every once in a while, I'll throw in like something in Canada or Mexico or somewhere international. So you get pick one and clue one the state, and you take a guess. So you're most likely not going to get it right. Maybe your audience is because they're pros, but you know, it's outside your kind of local market potentially, right? And the game tells you you're too high or you're too low. Guess again. Boom. Now you get picture 2 and clue 2, which is the city. You know, if something says California, you might, you know, think one price point, but then clue 2, it says Beverly Hills. It's going to be a lot different than, say, Eagle Rock, right? So that's clue 2. And then that process continues through picture 3, 4, 5, 6. And the clues that continue and sort of follow suit are square footage, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, the lot size, maybe the year it's built, and then kind of the last with pick 6, it's some extra additional things like if there's a pool, if there's a sauna, whatever it might be.
I think that is fantastic. And I can see my appraiser friends and me as an appraiser myself becoming addicted to this. And here's the thing, Doug, I think working through those kinds of things actually may, in my intro, I talked about, you know, my wife plays Wordle every day. I do the New York Times spelling bee every day. You know, things to kind of keep your mind sharp, keep you kind of on your toes, mentally speaking. This sounds like the kind of thing that would be really fun, number one, and possibly help us keep our game a little bit sharper as real estate appraisers. Let me ask you this. What kind of properties do you like to feature? Do you mix markets such as listings from Miami, Connecticut, or the Midwest? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what makes the game really fun is when you open the game every day, you have no idea what type of home you're going to see. You don't know what market we're going to be in, what kind of home, what kind of price point. Is it a mid-century modern? Is it a modern farmhouse? Is it those variations keep it fresh. And to your point, 100%, the object of the game is to keep your mind fresh. It's to educate. It's to motivate. It's all the things. Like people like real estate for a lot of different reasons. Someone might be interested in investment property one day. Someone might be interested in a second home. There's a lot of reasons to play. Some people play for design inspirations. You know, you're going to see all these different styles externally, internally, for your own home, for your own inspiration. So there's a lot of reasons to play. And absolutely, I hand choose every single day's game, and I intentionally switch it up. I am going high price point, low price point, mid price point, coastal, middle of America, you know, north, south, islands, you name it.
You know, there are several websites out there for listings and stuff like that. I'm trying to think, like, I get a newsletter a couple times a week from a website called Cheap Old Houses. Have you ever seen this website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I know.
I can imagine going to there to get inspiration. And then, you know, last year we did a podcast from Ireland at what effectively was a castle. It's a manor house. You know, it's been in the family for 300 plus years. And we talked about valuation issues there, but the inspiration for picking these is just never ending.
Yeah, that's right. That's what's great about real estate. There's so much variation. And what I also love about it is, you know, the market dictates the price point, you know, and that's what's fun about Housle is you come into Housle and, you know, I think you live in Tennessee, in Nashville, right? I've never been there, but I now know the market pretty well from doing this home research. And I like that. I like knowing that Nashville's a hot real estate market and has continued to be post-COVID. Whereas you've got somewhere like Austin that had this major pop, but now had a major drop. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what's great about the game is, you know, you get to learn a lot about these different sort of markets within every state, and it really drives price point.
I'm curious, and I'm going to go off script. I do this occasionally, but I'm curious from just a numbers point of view. If you survey enough people, you can usually get the right answer over a period of time. I mean, that's kind of a known thing in statistics. Have you noticed that when more people play, more people cluster around the plus or minus 5% mark sooner?
That's a really interesting question. And to be completely honest, I've not dived into that data. I have not analyzed the daily game to be like which games get us closer to the guess quickest or not. I
Yeah.
actually haven't focused on that data very much.
I'm just curious, like the idea of crowdsourcing answers to the classic example is a jar full of jelly beans. How many jelly beans are in the jar? And people will make guesses, and you'll get the tails that are out here, but the bulk of people end up congregating somewhere real near the actual number. I'm curious if that would work here. Were I you, that's one of the bits of data that I would dive into. But
Yeah.
I also just acknowledged publicly that Doug, real estate appraisers, we are nerds for data and for information, and we try to think of different ways to analyze it. Anyway, all right, so you combine trivia, real estate browsing, and strategy. Why do you think this hooks people so quickly?
Great question. It's a little different for everyone. And what's fascinating is the people that like it, they love it. I've found that the audience is hardcore. There are people who it's not, the game isn't built for them. They play it once or twice. They're like, that's cute. That's fun. It's not for me. It's not something that pops in their mind every day to play or whatever. There are people though, for whatever reason. And like I said, I think it is different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin who's in Aspen. He's in hotel development, obsessed with the game, plays religiously, sends me a score every time he gets his bang on the first guess. Sends me ideas for homes in the future that he finds. There are certain types, like I think you're in my world. I think this game's built for you and your community. We love real estate. We are data driven. We are numbers driven. So we like numbers. And I think there's a community who like to stay sharp. There's a community who like to feel like they're good at the game, right? That's part of it. There are people who really like to track their stats, who will text me, I just got a 37-day streak. There's more game people who are motivated by performing well. There's people that are really motivated by design inspo. So it's a mixed bag, but these daily casual games have become incredibly popular, even outside of your typical gamer, right? You talk about gamers, or you think of like a video game person or like a kid sitting in like those games, playing video games with a remote control, and games have evolved. And, you mentioned, I think that you play the New York Times games. I play those daily. I have a community of friends. We share our scores. We play Wordle. We play the mini crossword. We play a bunch of those games. And it's just a really lightweight way to engage your brain. And there's a social element too, which I think is really interesting, right? I don't know if you share your score with, a friend group or anybody, but I do, and I know a lot of people do. And it's the same with Housle. When you finish, you can share your score. We've got a fun little system where if you get it right in one, there's one house with your percent. If you get it right in two, it shows one house, then two houses. It's like a visual way of sharing your score. And it's like a social element too.
I love it. I love it. So I do not share my scores because, again, with the degree of dyslexia that I experience, my challenges with word games are pretty immense, number one, and number two, the resulting answers that I get sometimes, like the number of times I get word not in database is probably higher than anybody else in the country. But I do love playing the games. It's fun. Let me ask you this on another note. So we've been talking about the user experience, user interface, that kind of business. I'm curious from your end, how long do you spend picking and setting up the daily game for each day?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time. I'm very thoughtful with it. Obviously, it'd be really easy to just put your finger on a map and click the first home. But I like for every listing that we feature to have some wow factor, okay? Wow can be defined in a lot of different ways. Wow, I can't believe how beautiful that home is. wow, I can't believe the feature of that, a specific feature, like it has this crazy waterfall. Wow, I can't believe how cheap or inexpensive, how good of a deal that house is. Wow, I can't believe homes are that cheap in X city. Vice versa. Wow, I can't believe how expensive that home is. Who can afford this home? Who lives like this, right? We do the high, the low, everything in between. I've themed the days now. So we've got Mansion Monday, Tropical Tuesday, Wild Wednesday, Thrifty Thursday, under $1 million. And then it used to be Famous Friday. I got rid of it. It was too hard to find celebrity homes. They've gotten sort of, I think you also mentioned you might have a PI background. Like they've been wiping.
Yeah.
They're very good about wiping this stuff for privacy. We have like Serene Saturdays. And anyway, so that also helps sort of give me direction as I look to find homes for the daily game.
I love it. I love it. This sounds so much fun. All right, so how do you see Housle being useful for appraisers? Do you think it would be useful for appraisers? Could it be a fun way to practice valuation skills or just a light break from the workday?
I think it's both. I absolutely think it keeps your mind sharp. I think anyone in business, to be really well-rounded, should know more than their instant, immediate market, right? So I assume, most appraisers work locally within a certain area, right? And then as those sort of barriers get further and further, like it's sort of outside of their reach at some point, whether it's 50 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles, at some point, everyone hits their limit, I assume, as an appraiser, where they're just like, that's not my territory, or it's too far to drive, whatever it might be. But like I was saying, in all business, I think it's important to be well-rounded and well-educated about your business so you can speak knowledgeably about it. So Housle will help anybody, especially an appraiser, sort of learn about other markets. You never know when you're going to move as an appraiser. Maybe your family's going to move from Nashville to Denver, and through Housle, you could have already been exploring the market and learning a bit about it. So I think that absolutely that's valuable and useful. And then separately, just as a break in the day, I mean, look, everyone's different. There's probably some appraisers out there who's like, I do this for a living all day. I don't want this to be the thing that I do during my break. But then I also feel like a lot of people do what they do because they love it. Yeah. And so, it might be a very welcome break to explore a different, area and kind of test your brain and sort of, see what you got.
I love it. Okay, well, let's do this. I need to hear from one of our sponsors, and we will be right back.
LIA Administrators and Insurance Services, serving valuation professionals since 1978. We provide E&O insurance with a commitment to superior customer service, outstanding liability education, and unmatched claim defense. Explore our exclusive appraiser liability education by Peter Christensen and cost-effective seminars designed to foster your growth. Our underwriters, with an average of 26 years of experience each, are dedicated to supporting appraisers. Visit liability.com to discover how LIA can safeguard your business.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzz. I'm Humphreys, your host, and I'm joined today by Doug Weitzbuch. He is the creator of Housle. It is a game you should go play. Doug, tell me the URL if I wanted to go play this game.
www.housle, Housle, housle.house. So that's on web. You can play on your computer, on your phone. And additionally, we have an app on the App Store, iOS and Android.
Okay, good. Now, Doug, I'll tell you, Jim Morrison does this thing where he hits me with an anonymous appraiser question too often for my liking, but he likes to trip me up. If you'd like to chime in on whatever he's set up for us today, you're welcome to. If you want to leave it squarely on my shoulders, I'll take a stab at it. Jim, do we have an anonymous appraiser question today?
We do. Hal, let's just think of it as I'm honing your skill. That's how we should do it. So, this one comes in and says, my sister and I own a riverfront property and are equal partners in the land. I've built the main house and invested over $2 million. She built the ADU and invested $400,000. Now we want to create a fair split when we sell and cannot agree. My sister thinks it should be equal, but I feel the larger, higher-end home I built should weigh more heavily. How would an appraiser calculate the split, and is there a way to model this if one of us passes away before the property is sold? The land cannot be divided due to county code. I also don't think you should put that you're thinking of your sister's passing away before it's sold. That's a little sketchy.
Yeah, that is a little sketchy. Doug, any thoughts on that?
That's a tricky scenario. I like things to be fair, in life. I think that's just how the world works. When you put in more time into something, you put in more money into something, it should kind of be split that way. In this scenario, it's like you've got very concrete, clear dollars and figures that can help represent a split. I'm not an appraiser, but in my mind, like if you could appraise what the land would be, you could appraise what the value of each of these buildings would be. I think you could come up with a fair number that's mutually agreeable. It's unfortunate that one of the parties thinks it should be even, but I don't know about that.
I think I would say first, from an appraiser's perspective, I don't think many appraisers are going to wade into the question of fairness from family politics, but instead might ask something like, what is the contributory value of each of the improvements to the whole? I think I agree with you, Doug. I think fairness is the way to approach this as a family. I think probably the better alternative would have been to have this conversation sooner than later. It seems like it's a little bit after the fact. I know in Tennessee, if I own a piece of property, 50-50 partnership with someone else, the state doesn't care who put what into it. They're going to see it as a 50-50 split. So it's a thing that this appraiser is going to need to address sooner than later. From an appraisal standpoint, what I would suggest is the family members come up with an agreement, maybe hire a mediator to help them decide what is fair amongst the family. And then I would suggest that the appraiser would appraise the property as a whole and then use market-based information to determine what the contributory value for each of the pieces is. Again, my gut says if I put 2 million in and someone else puts 400,000 in, I ought to get more of that, but it's not going to be, it may not be, it may, but it may not be directly proportional to what everybody put into the property. But my advice would be find an attorney who is comfortable with family estate planning, family law kind of business. And if you and your sister cannot agree, maybe hire a mediator to come up with what makes sense and is fair to everybody involved, and then call the appraiser to come in. But the appraiser is probably not going to wade in on what's fair amongst your family members.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, it's a little, I think, wild for somebody that contributes 400,000. Your sibling puts 2 million in to say, let's split it 50-50.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, families, what do you
Right.
Right. Doug, thank you again for taking the time to be here. Jim, do we have anything else we need to cover?
No, Doug, I really appreciate it. It was great getting to talk with you. I know since I was introduced to Housle, I've been playing it every day, and I really enjoy it. Today's, I won't give it away. Well, actually, this will be recorded later, so it'll be gone. But I really struggled with it. It took me 5 turns on today's. So before I got it in 1 turn, but I think that drives me to want to play even more, the fact that I struggled with it so much today.
That's fun. Well, it was lovely to be here. It was great speaking with you guys. I hope your community likes the game. I also think it'd be really fun for you guys to play the game live as like it only takes about a minute or two. It'd be fun to watch you guys play live on your podcast.
Oh, boy.
I
think you don't want to expose you. There's no dyslexia in this, though.
Yeah, numbers are a problem for me, too. Jim, do we have a way to do that? Can you share a screen and pull up the app?
Well, I've already gone, so since I've already done today's, I think how you would have to do it on yours. We'll put the link in the description as well, but everyone, it's Housle, Housle.house.
Housle.house. There we go. So let's see. Mansion Monday, Ellen DeGeneres' house. I have no idea where that's going to be. It looks to be a little bit old world construction.
It's in the UK. It's supposed to say England.
Okay, so the UK, and we don't know how much land is there. We don't know any of the details. Let's just say 10 million. Guess. You can't handle the price. Well, maybe you can, but guess higher, too low. Next clue. Oh, we've got interior photos. 20
43
million.
estate.
What's that?
It's a 43-acre estate.
Yeah, but I've been shocked at how prices in the UK are not as high as I would expect them to be. Good try, but too low. Give it another shot. Seriously.
Huh.
Next clue. Heated indoor pool, helicopter shed, 2 private guest cottages, and a party barn. Well, this is certainly a different beast. Let's go 50 million.
All right, you got your anchors now, high and low.
Okay, so we're between 20 and 50 million dollars on the list price of this house. Let's go to the next clue. Look at that beautiful kitchen, fully renovated.
Because
1,000.
in the UK, they put it in square meters, which makes it a little more difficult.
1,361 square meters, that translates into huge in square feet. So we know it's not 50 million. We know it's not 20 million. Let us just, keep with our bracketing. No. 35 million. Too high. How many guesses do we get total?
6. So you've got 2
6.
more.
Woo!
Got 2 more.
Next clue. 2 dressing rooms and an ensuite, French doors to a private garden. Well, we know it's not 35. We know it's not 20. So let's just do 30. 30 million.
Oh, look at that. Well done.
Hey!
List price $33.85.
That is fantastic. Okay, well, I'm totally hooked at this point. So I'll be playing Housle first thing in the morning for the next 7 weeks for sure.
That was a little non-traditional with the UK one, but usually it's domestic, almost always.
I love it. I have found that when I'm looking at properties in the UK, I'm either gobsmacked at how low the price is, or it's something like this, and I have no idea.
Yeah, this was unique. It's Ellen DeGeneres. She left the States. She's known for rehabbing properties at a really high-end level,
Okay.
and I think it's part of her income is to do a crazy rehab, use her celeb status to sell it at a premium, and cash out.
I love it. Okay. Morrison, anything else we need to cover today?
Thanks so much, Doug. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to keep playing.
All right, see you guys. Take care.
Doug, thank you so much. And if we have nothing else for Jim Morrison and Doug Weitzbuch, I'm Hal Humphreys, and that is your appraisal buzz for this week.